he actually implemented at FactSet, where he worked out of college, which is a competitor to Bloomberg. And so the idea is we sat down as a team of three or four about 6 years ago, and wrote up on the wall 10 core values. And we got beer and hung out till like 9, 10 p.m. at night, and we're like, these are the core values moving forward, and we're not going to change them. And then you develop your interview questions off of that. So we ask questions on grit, on competitiveness, on coachability. Are they a fun person? We ask questions about, is this somebody that would want to hang out after work because people enjoy being around fun people? And so we ask questions off of that, and then based on those, we'll bring people in, and then in our final round, each segment of the interview with 4 different people targets a segment of a deeper dive into those core values. And then one of the interviews will dig deep on the position itself, right? Do they have do they get the role? Do they want it? Do they have the capacity for it? And that has not changed for the last 6 years. We've done it the same way.
Yeah. Have you seen an improvement in retention and morale when you do that?
100%. Yeah. I think it makes it a lot easier to see when somebody's not a fit early on as well. Prior to COVID, the job market was tough to find good candidates. I mean, you're going up against, Salesforce's across the street, their regional office here, and, they got 1,000 employees and an amazing workspace, right? And so when you compete against people like that, it's hard to sometimes get 10 great candidates in a final round interview, right? To basically have your pick of the litter, right? Where in some cases in a startup, and it can go to the book by the LinkedIn founder about blitz scaling. Sometimes in a startup you have to hire a B player because there's nobody else to hire.
Yeah.
Right. And that, look, that person may be let go down the road, but so yeah, now that you have post-COVID, unfortunately, there are some pros to it. There are a lot of great candidates that are available, and now you can really apply those. I think you're going to start seeing that, being able to grab the amazing A player that was really hard to get before.
The more attractive you are as a company, the more attractive the person you can recruit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're ugly, you can't expect to get a 10, right? Like you need to bring your dating standards down, right? And then when you're a startup, you're not the most gorgeous person in the world. So you can't have standards that are way above yours. And you grow to a certain size, you've been around long enough. There's the perceived stability. I love what you talk about with core values. I kind of looked at it. I looked at it as non-negotiable behaviors. Just what are some non-negotiables? This person needs to show me they've exhibited it over and over. You mentioned grit, resilience, teamwork. There's just certain things that like these are the people that make it here. And you said something that I think is incredibly important. And I think folks in larger companies are afraid to say these kind of things, but would I like to hang out with this person?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times, you'll hear HR people say, well, you can't say that, you can't, that's not relevant. You could get bias involved. And the truth is there's bias in every hire you make, right? Like someone else will have a different bias and they might like this person a little more, but if I got to hang out with these people 10 hours a day, right? 5 days a week, I want to like hanging out with them. That's my prerogative. I get to hire. And if one of my choices is, would I like to have a beer with this person?
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's my choice, right? I don't want to have a happy hour with 12 and we don't invite the 13th person because he's pretty good at his job, but we don't like hanging out with him. Yeah. That's my choice. And if you don't like it, tough shit. I'm the one hiring. Yeah,
exactly. And it's a two-way street for that person. They're not going to be happy if they don't want to sit in a car for 3 hours and have a beer with you, or just go on a road trip and talk. Like if you'd want to get out of the car, driving from DC to Raleigh, North Carolina with that person, then they're not the right hire, and it's going to be the same way for that person sitting in the passenger seat, because conversation goes both ways. So
100%, they're going to hate hanging out with me. Like they're just a different, it doesn't make them bad or me bad. We're just that different that, we shouldn't work together.
Yeah. And I think that's where HR companies have it wrong. Like, you can't be prejudiced and obviously people that are, they should be removed from their jobs, but from a likability perspective, putting somebody that people hate in a seat in an office, I mean, it's going to make everybody else around them, think about how they're offended, how they're like, who is this person? Like it ruins their work environment too. So, it